First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And in this lesson, I wanted to mention a few things, mainly praying for a heavier spirit, all right, because the times we're living in, all right, is no joke. It's very serious, and a lot of people are going to end up caving in really through hunger, because, lack of clothes you could do, lack of certain things you could go without, but lack of food is what's going to really get a lot of people to give in. All right, that's that heavy temptation. And I say that because I looked up some information here as to how hunger can affect your mind, your psyche and your decision making. And I have some information here that, Lord willing, I'm going to read. Matter of fact, we'll just start with that now. And you're going to see why this is called the hour of temptation and why we need the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. So this is from ScienceDaily.com. And it says, idea but new research from, we all know that food shopping when hungry is a bad idea, but new research from the University of Dundee suggests that people might want to avoid making any important decisions about the future on an empty stomach. Okay? And you're going to see why I'm bringing this out in a minute. It says the study carried out by Dr. Benjamin Vincent from the university's psychological department found that hunger significantly altered people's decision making, making them impatient and more likely to settle for a small reward that arrives sooner than a larger one promised at a later date. All right? And this is why we need the Spirit of the Lord, because we always say that right now your mindset is different than when you haven't eaten in a couple of days. All right? When you haven't eaten in a couple of days, you start to think differently. And it's not, your flesh, of course, is going to want to tell you to take the easy route. That's what we're reading about here. But if the Spirit of the Lord doesn't intervene and step in, you would settle for a small reward that arrives sooner than a larger one promised at a later date. That's why Yahushua said, he that endures unto the end, he that is able to go through these temptations and not get impatient, as the scripture is saying, your patience possess your souls, right? Now it says, participants in an experiment designed by Dr. Vincent were asked questions relating to food, money, and other rewards when satiated, and again when they had skipped a meal. While it was perhaps unsurprising that hungry people were more likely to settle for smaller food incentives that arrive sooner, the researchers found that being hungry actually changes preferences for rewards entirely unrelated to food. Okay? This indicates that a reluctance to defer gratification may carry over into other kinds of decisions, such as financial and interpersonal ones. Dr. Vincent believes it is important that people know that hunger might affect their preferences in ways they don't necessarily predict. Meaning, you may say, nah, I ain't gonna take the MOTB. Nah, I'm not gonna bow down to nah, I ain't gonna do that. But when that hunger hits, that mindset becomes harder to maintain. And as we read, people would rather settle for a small reward. Hunger is gonna play a main factor as to how they're gonna get the people to bow down and to break. Because these people, they do, Esau and these elites, they do the research to find out, okay, what's the hardest chokehold you can put somebody in to have them submit. Something they just cannot go without, and that's food. Because if you take away people's ability to freely eat and they need to depend on you to eat, in in essence, it's sort of like giving them the option of do what I say or suicide, because you're going to starve to death. And they may start off and say, yeah, hell no, I ain't doing what you say. But after a couple of days, their psychology starts to change. Well, not their psychology, all right, because psychology is study of the, the soul, really. But their mental state begins to change, right? And then they might actually return to you, because now they're willing to settle for a smaller reward that'll arrive sooner than a larger one promised at a later date. Meaning you're going to have certain people that right now may say, no, I'm with you and yeah, we'll make it to the end. But when they start starving for a few, because the Lord can use that to weed out people. Because the Lord knows that if we don't eat, we're going to die. So he's going to feed us. He said so. But remember, when the Lord promising to feed us is like that larger promise for a later date. And we don't know exactly when that is. So when people start to get hungry, they know in their minds that the rations are there. And if I go and take this thing, I can get it right now. That's a smaller reward that'll arrive sooner. And so they're more willing, they'll think about it for a bit, but after a while, their brain will start to act differently. And if the Spirit of the Lord doesn't kick in, they'll just go and do it. Right? So it says here, because like it says, you can't necessarily predict what your preferences are going to be like in that time, because you're going to be in a different state. There is also a danger. There is also a danger that people experiencing hunger due to poverty may make decisions that entrench their situation. It's like here. May entrench their situation. Now it says, we found there was a large effect. People's preferences shifted dramatically from the long to short term when hungry. You hear that? Their preferences shifted from long term to short term when they were hungry. So what is short term? Take the MOTB, eat, get to go back to work, do whatever you want to do. Long term is hold out, maintain, endure unto the end, and the Lord will give you everything. But once hungry, that becomes harder to do. That becomes a heavier temptation. People may be able to go losing friends, losing property, losing your house, but not eating. See, losing friends, losing property, that affects you, of course. But your brain tempts you even more when it's in danger, when the body's not getting any food. Hence, this is the kind of mindset that makes people eat other people, because they can't wait for food. They don't think there's food coming, but they can settle for something immediate, right? Meat is meat at that point in their mind. So it says here, people's preferences shifted dramatically from the long term to short term when hungry, he said. This is an aspect of human behavior which could potentially be exploited by marketers. So people need to know their preferences may change when hungry. Keep that in mind, that your preferences may change when you're hungry, and you need to pray to the Lord that no matter how it changes or how you're affected, you still stay faithful to him, and that you don't end up going and taking that thing, because these elites know this and they're going to play on this. That's why you're seeing all this. As a matter of fact, the reason is, look at this. Another U.S. food processing plant erupts in flames. And you know what I'm going to show you real quick? I'm not really going to read through this article per se like that, but I want to show you something. So when you scroll down, there's a list here. Look at this. And this is a list right here. Let me see. It says, while the fire seems insignificant, it's part of a much larger issue of a spat of accidental, quote unquote, fires, one by one, taking out America's food supply chain over the past year. I'm going to show you this, okay? And you tell me if this is coincidence. This is January 11th, 2021, okay? And I'm not going to read the dates because there's way too many. But as you can see, the first one, a fire that destroys 75,000 square foot processing plant in Fayetteville, right? Now, keep scrolling, keep going. All of this, chickens, turkey, chicken, all right, all the way down, ducks, all of that. Down 97, okay, 97 incidents. Latest one being, what's that? The 13th, a couple, like two days ago. 97 incidents in the U.S. of food or processing plants, or the in essence the supply chain being affected. You mean to tell me that this is coincidence? This is just randomly happening, right? And these accidents just so happen to be at the food area. Okay, and this is what you see going on. They are doing this on purpose because they know, I just read to you, so how they can change your mind by making you desperate enough. They understand that. So you know, at some point it becomes, okay, well, now they don't even care if we're out here warning people, because of course they do to some extent, but it's not going to matter because people are, you may know, remember, this right here, this doesn't depend on what you know or what you don't know. This depends on how you feel. So you may know, yeah, don't take the MOTB, but for some people that's not going to matter because their preference might be, okay, I know not to take this thing and I'm not going to take this thing. But then after not eating for a while, that preference might change into saying, you know what, maybe I will take this thing so I can eat because I can't wait any longer. So one might have a preference, no, I'm going to wait for the kingdom, I'm going to endure unto the end. And then the hunger sets in for a while, and then their mindset starts to change unpredictably, meaning they never expected that they would actually start to think like that. You see? And this is something, when you read in the Siege of Jerusalem, back during the time of 66 to around 70, 73 AD, during the actual siege, it says, I'm going to read an excerpt here, or a little portion here from the Roman Jewish Roman War. It says, during the infighting inside the city walls, a stockpiled supply of dry food was intentionally burned by the zealots to induce the defenders to fight against the siege instead of negotiating peace. As a result, many city dwellers and soldiers died of starvation during the siege. So just like they destroyed they tried to make it a strategic move, but it didn't really work. But this time they're destroying all the or most of the food, all right, or the food supply here in this place, and that's why you're hearing about a global famine coming, because a global famine will get it'll get the world to succumb, right? Everybody has different preferences, but whenever everybody is subject to life and death, right? So when you don't eat for a while, it doesn't matter what your preferences are. If you don't have the Spirit of the Lord, your preferences now become settled for the earlier reward and forsake the long-term reward. So you're going to have people that are, no, I ain't doing this, I don't trust the government, and now it's going to go past that. And if you can get this on a world scale, well, you can get on a world scale compliance. Now, I typed in here, why do people make crazy decisions when they are hungry? And it says here, hunger significantly altered people's decision making, making them impatient and more likely to settle for a small reward that arrives sooner than a larger one promised at a later date. You see? So keep this in mind. When you have people that you may know, that you may tell them, yo, you don't do this, and they may agree, no, I ain't gonna do it. But when they're hungry, their decision making is altered. It's changed. It's subject to change. What you think now is subject to change based on what condition you find yourself in. And so lastly, I'm going to end it off with this precept because this is very important. So this is how you got to think about it, that it's not going to be you. You're not going to be the one that decides I ain't going to take it or I'm going to take it. There's going to need to be a spirit of the Lord that's on you, all right, that's going to help you resist. This is the book of Revelation chapter 3 verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which is when they basically push out this MOTB and make it mandatory. And now you're going to have to make that, everybody's going to have to make that decision. Are you going to take it or are you not? It says, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And that temptation is going to come in many ways, but a big part of that is going to be hunger, because they know that hunger can alter and change somebody's resolve if their resolve is not strong. See, that's why verse 11 it says, behold, I come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast. Fast means tight, like hold it strong, that no man take thy crown. Because these temptations are going to be altering people's decision making and their perception and their whatever plans they have. And if you don't hold fast onto the mission, you're going to lose your crown. All right. So with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.